brain fog, fatigue, bloating, inflammation, cravings, gut issues. When you have autoimmune symptoms, eating can start to feel like a trap. One meal seems fine, the next meal leaves you puffy, foggy, tired, or weirdly snacking. And nobody really tells you how to know what's really helping and what's quietly making things worse. In this video, I'm going to show you what I actually eat in a week using an anti-inflammatory approach. And more importantly, the simple test I use to decide what to repeat and what to pause. And stay with me because one of the most common healthy lunches is exactly the kind of lunch that can make women with autoimmune issues more tired, more inflamed, and craving sugar a few hours later. And at the end, I'll give you one of my favorite gut supporting staples that makes this way of eating much easier. Welcome. If you're new here, I'm Julie. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been living with Hashimoto's and chronic fatigue for over 20 years. For years, I was trying to eat healthy, doing what I thought I was supposed to do, and I still felt awful, still tired, still foggy, still inflamed. What changed things was not trying harder, it was asking a better question. Not, is this food healthy? But, how does this food behave in my body? That question changed everything. So instead of giving you some fake perfect week, I'm going to show you the real pattern I follow. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, what I repeat when life gets hard, and the exact signs I watch for so I know if a meal is helping me or quietly hurting me. First, here's the rule that changed everything for me. I stopped grading food by labels. I started grading food by response. A meal is supportive for me if I feel steady, clearer, calmer, less bloated, less inflamed, and less snacky after I eat. A meal is a warning sign if it leaves me foggy, puffy, wired, craving sugar, needing more caffeine, or hungry again way too soon. That one filter clears up a lot of confusion because with autoimmune issues, a meal can look healthy and still not work well in your body. And once you start watching your response, patterns show up fast. So let's start with breakfast because this is where a lot of women accidentally set up the whole day to go sideways. My breakfast is usually simple: protein, healthy fat like avocado oil, and something grounding. That might be turkey patties with greens and avocado, leftover chicken with roasted vegetables, or a hash with ground meat, cauliflower, and greens. I used to do coffee first, something light later, and then wonder why I felt shaky, foggy, irritable, or starving by 10:30. Now I try to eat in a way that stabilizes me early because when blood sugar starts chaotic, the rest of the day usually follows. And this is one of the biggest mistakes I see. Women eat a breakfast that is way too light for the day they expect their body to carry. Maybe it's just coffee, maybe fruit only, maybe something tiny that never really lands. And then later they think, why do I feel so out of control around food? A lot of the time that started hours. For me, a supportive breakfast means I feel more even, less snacky, and less likely to start hunting for sugar mid-morning. When I eat breakfast and I'm already looking for another hit of energy soon after, that is a warning sign. This is not about perfection. It's about reducing the number of times your body has to scramble, because that scrambling often shows up later as cravings, crashes, brain fog, and inflammation. And lunch, this is where a lot of healthy eating falls apart. Lunch is usually where women think they're making the best choice, but it is also where I see some of the most common mistakes. For me, lunch is often a big salad bowl, but it's a real meal, not a tiny salad pretending to be a lunch. Usually it's greens, some cucumber, shredded carrots, leftover salmon or chicken, avocado oil, an avocado, roasted vegetables on top. Enough protein, enough fat, enough substance. Because here's the lunch trap: a little salad, barely any protein, a sweet dressing, maybe dried fruit, maybe a few healthy add ons, and then by 2 or 3 p.m., you're bloated, foggy, tired, and craving sugar and blaming yourself. And this matters even more if you have autoimmune symptoms, because the lunch that looks clean and healthy can still worsen brain fog, cravings, energy instability, and that puffy, inflamed feeling. A rough baseline that helps many women is getting enough protein across the day. That's typically around 90 grams or more, depending on the person, context, and goals. And here's the other thing I watch closely at lunch: my brain. Because sometimes the first sign that a meal didn't work for me is not gut pain, it's brain fog, that frosted glass feeling, that mental slowdown, that dip in clarity. When that happens, I don't just tell myself I'm stressed. I look back at what I just ate at a meal. Too little protein, too much sugar, too processed, too carb heavy for me that day. That kind of pattern recognition changes everything, because once you see the pattern, you can stop repeating it. And in a second, I'm going to show you the dinner shift that helped me the most, especially when digestion or inflammation is off. But first, if you keep feeling like I know food affects me, but I can't connect the dots, that's exactly why I made my free autoimmune energy workbook. It helps you track food, energy, symptoms, and flare patterns so you stop guessing and you start seeing what your body keeps trying to tell you. The link is in the description below. Now let's get to dinner, because this is where I learned that eating lighter wasn't always helping me. Dinner for me is simple again. Usually a protein, a cooked vegetable, a healthy fat, and sometimes starch if I know my body needs it. That might be salmon with broccoli and sweet potato, chicken thighs with zucchini and mashed cauliflower, or a bowl with protein and roasted vegetables. One thing I've learned over time is that I often do better with warm, cooked, easier to digest meals rather than with cold, raw, light meals all day. So sometimes dinner looks like soup, stew, or a bone broth based meal, especially if digestion feels off. Now, here's the part that usually makes or breaks the whole week. Not the perfect meal, not the best ingredients, the repeatable meals. This is what I repeat when life gets hard. This is the part I really wish more women were taught. The meals that help you most are usually the most repeatable ones. When life gets busy, I rely on meals that I can repeat without thinking. Leftover bowl meals, sheet pan meals, soup, batch cooked protein, roasted vegetables, or a repeat breakfast. Because when your body is inflamed, consistency usually matters more than variety. And when energy is low, you don't need more pressure. You need fewer decisions to make. That's why I don't negotiate with exhaustion. If I know I'm stressed, underslept, or running hard, I make food simpler. Way simpler, because this is where a lot of women break the pattern. They get tired, they want easy, they want comfort, and they slide into foods that feel good for 20 minutes and they cost them later. You know what I'm talking about. So one of the most anti-inflammatory things you can do is make supportive food easier to repeat. And honestly, that's why I like having an AIP-friendly meal service as a backup during my heavy weeks. Not because you have to live on it every day, but because reducing friction matters to me. If your week is full and your energy is low, having a supportive meal ready can keep you out of that crash and convenience cycle. Sometimes that's the difference between staying steady and spending the next 2 days trying to recover. There is one part of this that people don't talk about enough. It's the emotional side of eating this way. Eating this way can feel emotionally hard, not because every meal is hard to make, because sometimes it feels isolating, especially when you're tired or everyone around you is eating totally differently than you, or you just want convenience without consequences. I know that feeling so much. I know what it's like to look at food and feel like it comes with a price. And that's why I don't teach this from fear. I teach it from relief. Because when you've lived with brain fog, gut issues, fatigue, and inflammation for long enough, supportive food stops feeling like a punishment. It starts feeling like peace. And that's a very different mindset to have. This isn't about food obsession. It's about lowering the noise, lowering inflammation, lowering crashes, lowering the confusion. So what actually tells me a week of eating is working? This is the part that clears up almost everything. The supportive versus warning sign test. Here's the exact filter that I use. A meal is more likely supportive for me if it leaves me steady, clearer, less bloated, less inflamed, less snacky, and more emotionally even. A meal is more likely a warning sign if it leads to brain fog, a crash, puffiness, cravings, gut discomfort, or that wired but tired feeling later. That's the test. And what I love about that test is that it makes food less confusing. Because instead of obsessing over labels, you start paying attention to outcomes. And outcomes tell the truth. That's why I don't ask, was I perfect this week? I ask, what did this week teach me? Maybe I learned that protein at breakfast dramatically reduces my cravings, that waiting too long to eat makes my nervous system worse, that certain healthy foods leave me bloated, that warm cooked meals work better for me than raw salads all day. That's useful information to you. That's how you stop guessing. And that's how food starts becoming less confusing. So when I zoom out, my anti-inflammatory week is usually built around quality protein, cooked vegetables, healthy fats, simple ingredients, repeatable meals, and fewer foods that create noise in my body when I'm already flaring. That's what has helped me the most. Just learning how to work with my body instead of against it. And before we close, I want to be really clear. This is not about eating perfectly forever. It's not about making food more stressful. It's about lowering the inflammation burden, stabilizing your blood sugar, supporting your gut, and learning your own patterns. So here's what to do next. If you want a simple way to start connecting your food, your energy, and your symptom patterns, download my free Autoimmune energy workbook below in the description. It's built to help you see the exact patterns you may be missing. And if you're in a busy season and cooking this way all week just does not feel realistic right now, check out the AIP friendly meal option that I use too. The link is below, and like I promised at the beginning, one of my favorite gut supportive staples is bone broth. And my bone broth recipe that I absolutely love is included in my workbook. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Which meal is the hardest for you right now? Breakfast, lunch, or dinner? If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share it with another woman who feels like eating has become confusing and exhausting. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Take care of yourself because you deserve to feel well. And remember, we're all in this together. I'll see you in the next one.